Lorraine, you've got so many stories. We don't know where to start. But tell us about a time in your life when things were not going well, and the Lord carried you through. I know the last few weeks up until you got well were really horrible, but there's been a time that's even worse than that. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it was in 2000. I was working at Ford Motor Credit. I had a wonderful job. Everything was going really great, and my supervisor come and got me off the phone. She said, I need to get you to the emergency room because she said, you're not breathing right. And so I went to my doctor. I told her I didn't want to go to the emergency room and just go to my doctor. And so he took an x-ray of my lungs, and he said, have you had a lung transplant or have you got a lung removed because your lungs aren't showing up?
Wow.
And I said, I've got lungs. He goes, well, are you sure? Because they're not showing up. And so by the time he got me in the hospital, I couldn't breathe. I didn't have any oxygen coming in at all. And so they hooked me up on oxygen and went and drained my lungs. And there was more than 2 liters they got out of one lung and found a huge mass in it. And he set me down and told me it was inoperable lung cancer and that it had a good blood flow. It was right next to the aorta, right behind the heart, and it was in a location they couldn't reach. So there wasn't anything they could do.
So you're not supposed to be here tonight?
I'm not supposed to be, no. So
Isn't that amazing?
We went to an oncologist. It was a rough summer. That was like May 2000, and so I turned in my file at Ford and told them to just shut my case. They said I was dying, so I wouldn't be back, And so I went to St. Thomas, and they did this thing where they collapse your lungs and go in there and have a look around and everything. And then I can't remember, but I had to go still and have biopsies done. And the surgeon in Franklin operated and did an exploratory of the lung. And he was getting ready to put chemo in it, but they didn't need no chemo. I'd smoked 30 years, but the lung was pink. The mass was gone.
Whoa,
and there was
glory!
A little bit of fluid in there. And I don't know if you ever had a garden hose in your side, but man, I had a J hose, and that thing was huge, and it was all wound up, it came down my side. I mean, just under the skin. Mm-hmm. And it was like a garden hose, to tell you the truth. And they had that in me to drain the rest of that lung out. And it was rough. And so they weren't talking to me about dying anymore, but they just didn't really think I was going to pull through it. But I didn't need any chemo. I didn't need anything. And so I called Ford up and I said, is there any way at all, if I can survive this, can I come back to work? Because I think that's what I need to get me back, to fight for something to look forward to. So January 2nd of 2001, I went back to my job.
Praise the Lord. Isn't that wonderful? And I want to share something with you. In 2000, while you were going through that, my wife also had breast cancer, and it went to her lungs. And she had fluid on her lungs. And you don't realize what you can do. But they went in and put an incision in her side of her lung and sent me home with her. And every couple of days, I would have to take that out, clean that wound, and dress that and put it back. And unfortunately, she went on to glory. 1 month exactly after 9/11, she died at 10/11. So I am so thankful that the Lord
my
rescued
wound's right back here.
Yeah.
They cut me back there. That's where my cut is.
Well, you're a miracle, and we serve a miracle-working God, and
Yes,
He's
we
been
do.
faithful to you. He's been
Yes,
faithful
we do.
to Paul. He's been faithful to me. He's been faithful to Larry. He's been faithful to all of us. And, a lot of times we go through the valley, but, grief is a season.
It is.
And it's only temporary. It's going to pass. Mm-hmm. You might go through hell getting through it, but it will pass. And there will come a day when you'll feel better and you'll get over whatever is troubling you. So I want to encourage you Don't quit. Lorraine hasn't quit. She's been knocked down more times than Joe Frazier when he fought George Foreman. But she kept getting up, and because she kept getting up, she's been victorious. Thank
And
you.
that song, Even the Valley by the McCameys, that's the song that I was singing during that time.
You want to sing a little of it a cappella right now?
Even the valley is higher ground. Satan can't touch me where God's hand abounds. There's not. I don't know.
I know, and they're a wonderful group. How about a big round of applause for God and what He's done for Lorraine?